Fretting hand efficiency. This is something that will certainly concern you along the way as you build your skills. In this video, we're going to take a look at some of the most common issues that can arise and figure out a way to strengthen those weaknesses. Let's check it out. All right, the first item up on fretting hand efficiency is finger pressure. This is definitely something that 95% of players could improve. Most players don't think they're pressing too hard, but I guarantee you almost all of you are, including myself. So this is something I do for myself to become more efficient with the amount of pressure used. So here's what I would do to practice this. One thing I would do is just pick a single note. We'll say the first string, 8th fret on the C. We'll just do it with the first finger. We're not going to press the note just yet. We're just going to touch the string at the 8th fret. So very lightly, no actual pressure, and we're going to pick. We're just going to pick continuously. And obviously, we're not getting a note yet. This is just a dead string. But what you want to do at this point is gradually press just a little bit until you hear the note. Now at this point, back off. Back to dead string. Now continue to do this just until you hear the note and then back off. And what will happen is you'll start to realize very quickly, wow, I'm really not pressing very hard at all in order to get the tone to come out clear. And the difference between a completely relaxed finger and a dead string versus a note is actually very little. Now, if you were to train each finger that way, imagine how efficient your overall fretting technique would be and how much lighter your touch would be. It's actually quite remarkable. So this is something I would do on the regular. I would do it on different strings, use every finger. You can choose a different part of the fretboard. You can do anything like that you like. This is certainly going to help. You just got to be diligent with it. And the effects of this are you're going to feel, your fretting hand is going to feel really good. It's going to be very relaxed. Ultimately, you'll be able to play faster as well. You'll have more energy for longer performances. So definitely be diligent with keeping up on that. The next item on the list is position shifting. This is something that can exert more energy than needed if you're not careful about how you do it. So for a demonstration, let's take 6 notes on 2 strings. We'll say B, C, and D. On the 4th string, 9, 10, and 12. And E, F, G on the 3rd string, also at 9, 10, 12. So all 6 of these notes are in position, where we don't have to move our hand very much. But what we're going to do is we're going to shift the pinky from the G at the 12th fret to A at the 14th fret. Okay? So here's where I see most players using an inefficient technique. What they'll end up doing is they'll play the 6 notes just fine. But when they go to shift the pinky to the 14th fret, they keep their thumb in place and throw their pinky to the 14th fret. So what this does is it takes the alignment of your hand out of whack, because it's doing that now. Your thumb is still in the old position that it was in before, and chances are it's probably tensing up your arm or your wrist a little bit and making things feel a little less comfortable. So instead what you want to do is realize that when you play single notes in a single position, this is using smaller muscle groups. This is using just your fingers alone. When you do a position shift, that's a bigger movement. That's going to require a bigger muscle group to do efficiently. So what you want to do is when you get to the end of that 6th note, you want to loosen the pressure on your thumb a little bit, if it's got any pressure at all, and move your arm to the 14th fret. So you'll notice that when I do that shift, my hand doesn't open up and it doesn't do this weird splaying thing that happens when you throw your fingers. My fingers basically stay aligned with the frets, intact, and I'm able to get to my position, my new position, using my arm as my carrier. So that's something to watch out for. Whether it's a 1 fret shift, a 2 fret, or a 5 fret shift, whatever it is you have to play, make sure that you can get your arm to transport you and keep your fingers still so that when they land in their new position, they're already set to do their job there. The last thing we should probably mention, because it's part of your fretting hand, is your thumb. A lot of teachers tell you to hold your thumb in a very specific spot in the back of the neck, about halfway, and let your middle finger be aligned with it and use that for everything. I would say that's not really true. What I find to be the best bit of advice for the thumb is to allow it to do whatever it needs to do, to allow your fingers to do whatever they need to do. If I were to play something like a scale bass run, or something with a stretch, then yes, my thumb is going to adapt a position squarely in the back of the neck, probably under the middle finger, just like everyone recommends. But that is what my thumb needs to do for my fingers to do this. I can't do this with my thumb anywhere else. If it's screaming out over the top here, there's no way. I'm not going to be able to reach that. So that's just my thumb doing intuitively what it needs to do to allow my fingers to do their job. The only exception here, I would say, is if I'm playing bluesier things that require more bending and vibrato, having your thumb kind of peek over the top is a great benefit. It actually acts as sort of a clamp, or at least something to push towards. It gives you stability and confidence in your bends and vibrato. So I would actually consider that proper technique when you're doing that style of a lick. You don't want your thumb obviously cramped over the top unless you're, fretting notes like Hendrix used to do with his thumb. That's a different thing altogether. I'm just referring to more lick style things that require bending and vibrato. That actually acts as a benefit to be up here.